Affairs are not uncommon and often break up marriages, but in South Dakota, the jilted spouse has a legal recourse only available in 6 states.
They can sue the third party who they believe interfered with their marriage for alienation of affection. It's a law that dates back centuries to when a wife was considered her husband's property. In tonight's KELOLAND News investigation, Angela Kennecke uncovers a new case of alienation of affection against a Sioux Falls businessman who's been sued for the very same thing in the past. Plus, we take an in-depth look at how alienation of affection cases have played out and why some say the law needs to go.
Jerry Barr was married to his wife Denise for 17 years, but there were a few bumps in the road.
Yeah, actually, Judd Pins and my ex-wife Denise started an affair in 1996, and I uncovered it then. And Denise and I reconciled, and for 3 years, our marriage was better than ever.
However, Barr claims Denise started seeing Pins again.
And I confronted her, and then she admitted it. And one surprising thing is, first thing she said to me was they were talking about marriage.
Jerry and Denise Barr divorced, and Jerry sued Pins for alienation of affection.
I might still be married, and my family might still be together if it weren't for Judd Pins. You know, my wife cheated on me, but with no fault divorce, she was still entitled to 50% of whatever property and investments and wealth I had. And so an alienation of affection lawsuit is the only recourse.
Jerry settled his alienation of affection case with Pins out of court and cannot disclose the terms. Pins eventually married Denise.
I felt I had a very strong case, lots of evidence, but at the time, my children weren't aware of all this that had transpired, and I was protecting my kids from that.
Judd Pins then sued his insurance company, State Farm, for refusing to cover the claim. The U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit reversed the lower court's decision that State Farm must pay the claim, saying that any loss to an injured spouse in an alienation of affection case was expected or intended and could not be considered a covered accident under Pins' policy.
It's more than just an affair. I mean, an affair isn't against the law in any state.
Attorney Bob Christensen has represented many plaintiffs in alienation of affection cases in South Dakota.
Alienation of affection, you have to show that the defendant intended to pursue the spouse, alienated the marriage, caused damage to the marriage.
Alienation of affection cases are typically only brought when assets are involved. In Christensen's 2002 case, Jones versus Swanson, a South Dakota jury in federal court awarded the husband $950,000 in damages from a Las Vegas orthopedic surgeon for alienation of affection.
The defendant, through emails, text messages, cards, trips, pursued the wife, and the jury agreed.
However, that amount was reduced to $400,000 on appeal. Christensen is now representing a different man who is also suing Judd Pins for alienation of affection. Pete Sanchez filed a case in civil court against Pins, accusing him of interfering with his marriage to Adeline Sanchez. According to the lawsuit, Sanchez claims that Pins began a pattern of communication with Ms. Sanchez on a nearly daily basis and began to make sexual advances. According to documents filed in civil court, Sanchez claims Pins made 130 phone calls to Ms. Sanchez, and they traveled together on a business trip sponsored by Pins' company.
What I've come to believe with alienation of affection cases is that it protects the marital relationship, and it puts a value on that.
I reached Judd Pins on the phone, and he declined an on-camera interview. He told me Pete Sanchez has zero evidence of his claims of alienation of affection, and that the lawsuit is simply an attempt to extort money from him.
And that's one interesting thing about this case, too, that I'd really like to get across is most people aren't concerned about the money. They're concerned about resolution. What the heck happened? And if someone steals someone's wife away, husband away, they want to know why and they want to send a message that you shouldn't have done this and don't do it again.
Pins also issued Kettleland Investigates a written statement saying, quote, Sanchez's own ex-wife has confirmed under oath that the claim against me is unfounded, unjustified, and unfair. Pins also claims in his statement that he is not the only person that Mr. Sanchez has recently accused of alienating his wife's affections, and that he has made an identical claim against at least one other individual. Sanchez's attorney, Christensen, responded by saying, early on in the investigation of the case, we did consider that maybe someone other than defendant Pins alienated the affections of Mr. Sanchez's spouse. After communication with this person's attorney, we were convinced we were mistaken, and thereafter solely focused on defendant Pins. While Pins facing a second lawsuit for alienation of affection is unprecedented, it's not the only high-profile case in the state.
And we made contact with that person and told them about it.
In 2012, then Pennington County State's Attorney Glenn Brenner was sued for nearly $300,000 by Doug Rumpka, who claimed that Brenner caused his wife Kelly to lose her affection for him. The case went to the Supreme Court before being sent back to a lower court for trial. In the end, a jury ruled in Brenner's favor. Brenner later married Kelly, and the two now live in Texas. They declined to comment for this story. His attorney said this to Kettleland News in 2012.
Cases like this will cause, I think, many people to step back and take a look and say, is this law really something that serves a strong public interest or not?
I'm not sure the government really has any business being in there in the personal lives of marriages. And
Melissa Magstad of Watertown is a former state lawmaker who unsuccessfully attempted to do away with the alienation of affection law in the legislature in 2012.
It's such an old law, antiquated law from the turn of the century, not this century, from the turn of the old century, and was put in place as a property law that women, and at the original time, it was women who were owned by their husbands.
It wasn't until 2002 that the legislature changed the law, allowing women to also sue for loss of affection of their husbands.
If there's a problem with between the marriage, it's a problem with these two, not this one. And what's really interesting about alien affection laws is that you are not having a problem with this person. You're not suing this person. You're suing this person when all this person had to do was say no.
What is your response to that the law is outdated, archaic, sexist, all of those things?
It isn't that at all. It's you own your marriage, you own your relationship, you own your family. It affected me a great deal. I went through many years of depression and anxiety that I battled, and it took me many years to recover.
No one comes out the winner in this, including the children, including that married couple, including this gentleman over here or lady over here that wasn't even a part of their marriage. Nobody wins in this.
Which is why many of these cases never make it to trial.
Do you expect this case to go to trial?
The Pins case?
Yeah.
Most of them don't. We resolve them. But if it might.
Magstad says the fact that only a handful of states still have this law on the books should tell you something.
I will look forward to the day when we're down to zero on that, because people are not property. Everyone can decide yes or no if they're going to leave a marriage or not. And heart-bound laws don't soothe the spirit of anyone who's gone through a divorce or an affair. They just don't.
Peter Sanchez declined to comment on his lawsuit. We reached out to the women at the center of the two Pins alienation of affection cases, Denise Pins and Adeline Sanchez, but we did not get a response. We will continue to follow the Sanchez case and let you know of any resolution.